Hello everyone, this is Jason with Net.Academy. Academy. We're the community outreach arm of LA Networks. We're going through session 2 today on our BGP overview. Hopefully we're able to watch session 1, get a little bit out of the origin story of BGP because we're going to kind of continue directly from there today. Quick housekeeping items. If you're enjoying the content here, we would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, you can email me. My email is at the bottom of the slide here. Or you can put something in the comments down below. The whole goal really of Net.Academy is to kind of continue forward the sense of community for network engineers that we built when we were originally the SoCal Cisco user group. That being said, we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Today, we're talking about autonomous system numbers, or ASNs. So just remember that an autonomous system is a group of routers that are under a single administrative domain. We separate these different autonomous systems with autonomous system numbers. There's something called an internet registry, right? That you can get public ASNs for that define the routers that you're going to control. That might be as few as 1, might be as many as, thousands. So, a little bit of history here is that for decades, the BGP ASN space was a 16-bit space. But they did start to read those tea leaves and understand they were going to run out of IPs at some point, so they moved it to a 32-bit space. If those highest 16 bits happen to all be 0, meaning you were one of those people who received one of the original ASNs, then we call that a mappable address or mappable ASN, right? So we're going to cover 3 different numerical formats that you could display an ASN in, and they are all equivalent, meaning if I have this first one, ASN, and then we look at the second one, ASDOT plus, and the third one, ASDOT, they all have a mechanism from getting one to the other, okay? So ASPLAIN is probably the simplest in that it is just a straight integer, right? So if your ASN was 6328, it stays 6328. If your ASN was 123897, it stays 123897. It's just an integer number. It's that simple. However, if those upper 16 bits are again all 0, if you're in that mappable address space, then just kind of keep that in mind. It's very easy to use ASPLAIN for mappable addresses. Personally, I find when I get into that higher order space, the ASPLAIN becomes a little complex for me. It's just hard when I'm trying to differentiate maybe between 6 and 7 digits or something like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. That being said, let's look at the next one, which is ASDOT plus. So ASDOT plus, the dot means basically we're going to separate the high order and the low order bits from one another with a dot, okay? So the high order bits are going to be to the left of the decimal place, and the low order bits will be to the right of the decimal place. We're going to have to introduce a little bit of math here, but we're going to have a couple of examples to hopefully make it easy. So how do we tell what's high versus low order? Well, high order bits you calculate by taking the value of ASPLAIN and dividing it by 65,536, basically 2 to the 16th, right? And when we do that division, we're just going to take the whole integer value. We're not going to worry about the remainder at this time, right? So we're just going to divide the ASPLAIN value by 65,536 and just take the integer number, and then that's going to be to the left of my dot. And then I'll take the low order bits, right? And that's just that ASPLAIN value subtracted from whatever the high order bit value was multiplied by 65,536. Again, 2 to the 16th, right? And that difference between the ASPLAIN and the higher order bit multiplied by 2 to the 16th would be the value for your low order bits. Let's look at an example that might make it easier for some of us. So our first example is to convert 72,386 from ASPLAIN to ASDOT plus. Higher order bit, we just take the 72386, we divide by 65,536, and we get a 1, right? So that's our higher order bit is 1 dot. So we know that our ASDOT plus will be 1 dot something. To do the low order bits, we again just take the ASPLAIN 72386, and this time we subtract 1 times the 65,536. 1 times, because that's our higher order bit value is 1. We end up with a difference of 6850. So our ASDOT plus is 1.6850. By the way, if you're in mappable space, if today your ASN is 1234, then in ASDOT plus we call that 0.1234. Okay? So again, if you're in mappable space and you need to convert it from ASPLAIN to ASDOT plus, it's just 0 dot whatever the mappable value was, right? If you're not in mappable space, we just walked through that example. I'll leave this second example for you. It's a larger integer, right? But you kind of have the solution down below. So hopefully you're the kind of person who enjoys doing a few challenges. Go ahead and grab a random number generator or something if you want some practice, and just have it randomly generate numbers from say 1 to 4 billion, right? And then practice converting them from ASPLAIN to ASDOT plus to ASDOT, which is our next one. And ASDOT is the simplest because it's really the exact same as ASDOT plus, just if you're in that mappable space, we don't do the 0 dot. So the example here is if your ASN is 7899, then in ASDOT, your ASN remains 7899. I don't do the 0.7899 that I would do in ASDOT plus. Other than that, it's the same conversion that we did before, okay? If you want another example, I've got a big, huge integer here, 736,493,064. And I've got the solution for you, but go ahead and work it out on your own just for some practice, right? Remember, you may need to deal with ASNs in any of these, and you might need to write policies against them. So it is a good skill to build, right? While I talk a lot about we want practical skills, things we're doing day to day, I think that there are some soft skills we really have to work on, and things like working with numbers like ASNs or IP addressing, they fall into that critical category, right? So hopefully that makes some sense for you. Let's do a quick summary. So ASPLAIN is a reminder, that's just a straight integer number. It could go anywhere from 2 to the 0, which is 1, up to 2 to the 32, right? This is over 4 billion. ASDOT plus, right? We have our high and low order bits are separated by a dot or a decimal place, right? If you're in mappable space, you're in that first 2 to the 16th worth of addresses, then your ASN is 0 dot whatever the mappable space value is, whatever the ASPLAIN value is, right? In ASDOT, it's almost exactly the same as ASDOT plus. We just dropped that 0 dot requirement for the mappable space. So if you're in ASN 1234, in ASDOT plus it's 0.1234, and in ASDOT it's just 1234, same as ASPLAIN. Hopefully you got something out of this session today. Again, if you have questions, just throw them down below or feel free to email me. If you have suggestions for future things, go ahead and drop me a line and let me know what you would like to see. We're kind of working on 2 series at once right now between BGP and AWS. I'm hoping you're getting something out of both of these series. And we look forward to joining you next time, where we'll be covering IBGP and EBGP. Have a great day from Net.Academy.
Need help? Call our cybersecurity team and book a consultation with us today.